way to revenge, renounce what makes that will. Would you speak them to me with your breath so still and makes me believe that sins never die, can't wash his blood off her hands.
What's up everyone, Darkblade here bringing you my video review of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Developed by Kojima Productions and published by Konami, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain had a worldwide release date of the 1st of September 2015. It is available for PS4, Xbox One, PC as well as previous generation consoles. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain is the next title in the Metal Gear franchise. It sets out to fill in missing gaps with the story of Big Boss. The game follows in the wake of Metal Gear Solid, Peace Walker and MGS5 Ground Zeroes. As a result, there is a heavy theme of revenge throughout the game. The legacy of Kojima and the Metal Gear franchise is very prestigious. So, can Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain live up to the legend? As always, I will try to avoid major spoilers here. The story takes place directly after the events of Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, with Snake, also known as Big Boss, Kazuhiro Miller, and what remains of Snake's former army, in a dire situation in a hospital. Soon after, you the player awakes to learn that you have been in a coma for 9 years. You also find out that you were badly wounded with shrapnel in your body and more importantly in your skull. You also find out that you've had to have your arm amputated as a result of the helicopter explosion. As you recover, the hospital is eventually attacked, resulting in many deaths, both of doctors, nurses and patients, all in order for these attackers to get to Big Boss. You are helped out of the situation by a patient in the next bed known as Ishmael. You will witness the brutality of the soldiers as they kill without mercy. However, during your escape, you will come across a young boy who floats in the air with a gas mask, as well as a very large man on fire throwing fireballs. Things get crazy towards the end of the prologue, as the man on fire chases you on a fiery unicorn, while you're trying to make your escape on horseback with Ocelot, who has turned up to assist you. Eventually though, you make your escape, and you're given an update on what has been happening in your absence over the 9 years. During your time with Ocelot, you are patched up and given a new robotic prosthetic arm. You soon learn the location of your old friend and partner Kaz Miller, who has been captured by Soviets whilst in Afghanistan. So you head off on a rescue mission. Once rescued, Miller, Ocelot and yourself, also known as Punished or Venom Snake now, decide to rebuild Mother Base, as well as the ideals that were established during the events of Peace Walker. Everyone appears to be set on revenge. Yours and Kaz's revenge is set straight at Cypher and Skullface, the leader of the XOF unit, who in turn destroyed the first Mother Base and almost took Big Boss's future away. Thus, with the new Mother Base established, you head back out into the world on a wide variety of missions to recruit for your new army, the Diamond Dogs. You will come across new friends and allies with special abilities such as Quiet. As you build up your forces, you can start to consider getting your revenge. You'll just have to deal with Skullface's forces as well as the mysterious but awesome Metal Gear Sahelanthropus. Now, as with all Metal Gear games, the story is full of twists and turns, and anything more I said on the story could be considered a spoiler. MGS5 The Phantom Pain, like Ground Zeroes and Peace Walker, drops the exposition cutscenes in favour for cassette tapes that you listen to while you manage Mother Base or take on missions. Some MGS fans may not like this, as the long cutscenes were a staple of the series, but at the same time I can understand the choice to put them into audio tape form. The Phantom Pain story started off tense, but slowed down during the middle act, with a climactic third act towards the end. As I took down what I thought was the final boss, Kojima throws another curveball and gives us a whole other story arc. This second arc deals with tying up the loose ends and fills in the gaps between Big Boss's story and the events that are to come with the original Metal Gear. This second chapter was far more enjoyable for me than the first, filling in the gaps, confirming or denying all the questions and theories we had about the Phantom Pain story was one of the best aspects of the game's plot. I was thrilled with how things turned out, and one of my theories had me going, I knew it. This being said though, as you might be able to tell, I am a Metal Gear fan. It's the first game I covered on my channel. However, if I look at the story from the eyes of someone who is only loosely invested in the story, or who has never played a Metal Gear Solid game before, then I can see problems occurring. The game has set up such a rich history and lore that it will be hard for these players to fully understand what is going on. With this in mind, if you do enjoy Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain's gameplay, then I would strongly advise going back and playing the other MGS games, if only for the story so you can catch up. The story has mixed pacing. There are both fast-paced action scenes and slow moments, the latter of which can be very emotional at times. From Rage to Love, it shows us what characters are experiencing, sometimes with very little dialogue. This is thanks to the facial expressions and body language of those involved. The theme of revenge plays heavily in almost every character in the game, which is reflected in their actions and motivations. It shows to what length people of various backgrounds, positions and personalities are willing to go to achieve this. While some target just one person, others just want to watch the world burn. There are also many metaphors for the Phantom Pain in this game. From the Phantom Pain of lost limbs to the Phantom Agents. The title of MGS5, The Phantom Pain, has many meanings and semiotic references throughout the story. MGS5 The Phantom Pain gives us the missing links to the series, which is what we needed to complete this epic saga. The gameplay aspects of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain can be divided up into two areas. You have the missions and then you have the management. During the missions, as well as side ops, free roam and online play, you will be in direct control of Big Boss, or one of the members of Diamond Dogs. You move identically as you did in Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, with a third person perspective being the main camera angle. Your aim is smooth and akin to other third person shooters out there. You can even go into first person for aiming, allowing you to be more accurate with your shots. However, shooting is not the main draw of the game. Snake is still a master of CQC, or close quarters combat. In close ranges he can disarm, take down and incapacitate enemy soldiers with ease. Of course you need to actually get into close range to take on a foe with CQC. Thus, this favours players who opt for the stealth way of taking on missions. CQC is also more useful than you may think, as you can use it to question foes that will give you tips and interesting aspects and knowledge of the battlefield and more. MGS5 The Phantom Pain is no different than the other Metal Gears out there, in which you can tackle each mission without killing a single person unless it's story based. To do this though, you have to put your sneaking suit on and patiently move around the battlefield, watching enemy movements, laying traps and distractions so you can get to your objective without being noticed. You don't have to play this way if you don't want to though. Thanks to the routes laid down with MGS4, you have access to a wide range of lethal and non-lethal weaponry, so you can go Rambo on enemy forces if you want. If you do decide to go this way though, the enemy can still hit back and hard at times, so it won't be a cakewalk on some of the harder missions if you decide to forego stealth. Also, you are never normally ranked high if you go with the guns blazing route over the stealth one. Enemies in the game are intelligent enough. They have both a line of sight as well as a hearing proximity. Both can be affected by the weather and time of day, so use this to your advantage to take them on. They will investigate noises, call HQ if they notice something strange, search areas, call for backup, and tactically flank you if you're spotted. They also come with a variety of equipment that can make some missions easier or harder. You can also recruit enemy soldiers for Diamond Dogs, if you wish. To do this though, you have to incapacitate a foe through tranquilizer weaponry or CQC, after which you can use Fulton Recovery, introduced with Peace Walker, to extract them to your mother base. This also goes for equipment, vehicles and animals. The Fulton Recovery system does make for some comic moments. There are also numerous boss fights in the game, some enjoyable, some a bit frustrating. Some of these boss fights also pay homage to previous Metal Gear games. For example, there are numerous sniper fights that brought back memories of Sniper Wolf and The End. My personal favourite boss encounter was the encounters with Metal Gear Sahelanthropus. These encounters were a very cat and mouse affair. It really felt like a monster, like a kaiju was chasing you, and resulted in some very tense moments. The world of MGS5 The Phantom Pain is set in three main locations. You have the desert and mountains of Afghanistan, you have the marshlands and forests of Angola in Africa, and you have the platforms of your mother base. These are all massive areas, full of enemy camps, bases and more, although Mother Base only really has your allies on it. You will really have to plan each mission accordingly. Taking out smaller encampments can aid in taking on the larger ones, or vice versa. To traverse the world you will have to rely on your helicopter, land vehicles, D-Horse or on foot. These areas really are massive and it takes a fair amount of time to run between each base, so transportation is advised. When out in the field you can choose not to be alone. MGS5, The Phantom Pain, introduces a buddy system, which allows you to bring into a battle a buddy of choice. You have D-Horse that allows you fast transportation over rough terrain, as well as some stealth options. You have DD, a wolf companion found while out on a mission and raised on Mother Base. He can sniff out items and, more importantly, enemy locations. He can also be trained to take out enemies. You have Quiet, an important plot character and deadly sniper. Quiet's outfit may be a bit controversial, but there is a story reason behind it. She can provide long distance cover fire and enemy base scouting. And lastly, you have the D-Walker, a mini Metal Gear Walker of sorts that comes with a variety of weapons to take on missions. These all work well once you've strengthened your bond with them, and are always worth taking into the field. Just remember, they can be hurt and will be automatically extracted if they are wounded. The other side of the gameplay coin is the management aspect. Here you will control Mother Base. You can build new weaponry, gear, platforms for the base, as well as customize equipment. Gear and weaponry you develop can be brought into the field by Snake. Platforms can increase the various stats of your Mother Base. While you are out in the field, you can bring back money or GMP, as well as materials for the base. These will all help expand and grow Mother Base. The bigger the base, the larger the army it can hold, and thus you can bring more people back to it. In the management section, you can set your recruits to different teams to help grow your cause. From R&D to Intel, all these teams will affect aspects of the game. R&D help develop weapons and gear, Intel help provide enemy locations and more whilst you're in the field. The medical team help your soldiers recover from their wounds and sickness. The support team helps deliver equipment to you in the field. The security team helps defend your base. And finally, you have the combat unit that allows you to take on combat missions, forming your soldiers in the combat unit into smaller groups to take on contracts around the world for money and materials. It is a good source of income while you take on other things, and can reduce the number of heavily armed opponents whilst in the field. The management section of the game can be automated if you don't want to bother with it, but it is far more efficient if you take a personal hand in managing the affairs of Mother Base. The gameplay is probably the best aspect of MGS5 The Phantom Pain. It runs very smoothly and controls with accuracy you need to pull off perfect stealth missions. The biggest aspect though of MGS5 The Phantom Pain is that it gives you choice in your gameplay. You can either take your time, plan out your attacks, take on smaller camps before big ones, or you can just rush in, guns a-blazing. It's all down to you, and for that I have to tip my hat to Kojima and his team. The management aspects I enjoyed and gives you a sense of strategy, albeit a small one. I personally still prefer to take on missions as stealthily as possible. This is how the original Metal Gear games taught me to play, and I think I will take on every Metal Gear game the same way. There is something satisfying about sneaking through a heavily fortified base, taking on only the unavoidable foes, and coming up triumphant. This is still all possible, and with more polish, thanks to the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Here I would normally cover the multiplayer aspects of the game. MGS5 The Phantom Pain does have two areas of multiplayer. First you have the base invasion, and second is Metal Gear Online. I will go into these aspects in more depth in a separate review once Metal Gear Online is released in October. The presentation of MGS5 The Phantom Pain looks amazing, even on last generation systems, but it really looks graphically impressive on the PC and current gen systems. The art style is what you would come to expect of a Metal Gear Solid game, with metallic themes running through the Mother Base areas as well as the mechanical machines in the game. Despite this though, MGS5 The Phantom Pain has a very organic feel to the environments of Afghanistan and Angola. Angola in particular gave me fond thoughts of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Weather effects also help draw you into the environments, from rain to sandstorms. Each provide visual treats as well as a tactical bonus. Character models look detailed and move realistically thanks to superb motion capture. Facial animations have also had a lot of attention to detail that allow for a wide range of emotions to be displayed on facial features alone, especially during cutscenes. That being said, some of the background characters do not have as much detail put into them. There's a lot of balaclava wearing soldiers back at Mother Base, especially during cutscenes. which could be considered disappointing. But at the same time, balaclava wearing troops has been another staple of the MGS franchise. Lighting also plays an important part in MGS5 Phantom Pain. From sun-soaked deserts to dark hallways, light plays an important role, not only in setting the atmosphere of the story sections, but also plays an important part in gameplay too. The sound design for both the sound effects and soundtrack also play an important role. Sound effects help a lot when it comes to playing the game with stealth in mind, as you can listen for movement in your surroundings and aid in completing missions. The music, on the other hand, has always been an aid to the storytelling with the Metal Gear franchise. With MGS5 The Phantom Pain, it is no different. With songs such as Sins of the Father and Quiet's Theme, the soundtrack helps deliver emotions as the plot unfolds. The voice acting was a bit strange for Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain. Of course, I was jarred by not hearing David Hayter in the role of Snake, but I'm certain there were reasons for this, and Kiefer Sutherland is not bad in the role he plays. The rest of the cast voice actors, though, return from previous games. Now, the Metal Gear series has always had a certain charm when it comes to voice acting, and it made it lovable. With MGS5 The Phantom Pain, the charm has almost all gone, and replaced with a very serious and somber tone. While it's by no means bad, it was a little bit unexpected. Overall, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain is an epic game. Its size in both gameplay and story make it a fitting swan song for Kojima. The story, while oddly paced at times, fills the gaps in the Metal Gear series that needed filling. It almost answers all questions left open by the other games. Snake was a badass as always, although he seemed a lot more jaded when compared to the Snake we first met in Snake Eater. The gameplay is the best aspect of MGS5 The Phantom Pain, with smooth controls that allow for freedom of infiltration. Take on missions how you see fit, and that means it can appeal to many playstyles. From MGS purists to GTA players, you will be able to enjoy the gameplay aspects of this game. The presentation is a work of art, but this is because it's combined with the intelligent story and superb gameplay. It could be described as the perfect icing on a delicious cake. I must admit, I thought I had finished the game at one point, but I was completely wrong. MGS5 The Phantom Pain is a game that keeps on giving. When you think you're done, it will give you more to play with or more story to tell. What Kojima and his team have given us is a masterpiece of stealth action gaming. He also gave us a story that kept me guessing to the end, and for that I thank him and the others involved. I believe this may be the final chapter in the Metal Gear series as a result of recent Konami activities, but if it is, the Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain means that the series is going out on a high note. Anyway, I've been Darkblade, bringing you my video review of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.
Salvation.